Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. Sorry, last review was a few days ago, but been busy with life itself. But I also had seen Get Out, which is a new 2017 film which has gotten a lot of praise. And no, do I think it's the scariest movie ever? No. I don't even know if anyone's really saying that, but it is a good movie. I think it's a really good film because it has a cast that works very well. I think it has a very likable lead. This guy named Daniel Kaluuya as Chris. I thought he did a really good job. I even enjoyed his buddy who works for airport security, Rod, played by Lil Ray Howery. A lot of movies to be sort of the annoying cliche guy, but he had some really funny dialogue and he was likable. Woman who played his girlfriend, she did a good job. Bradley Whitford as the dad and Catherine Keener as the mom. Thought they did a solid job. Stephen Root, he's a good actor. He's in the film. Stephen Root, you remember him maybe from Office Space. He's the guy with the glasses, like, take my Red stapler. You steal my Red stapler, put the whole building down. That's Stephen Root. And he's been in a lot of other films. He's in this. And I thought it was a really cool story. And I thought it was well told. I thought the acting was solid. I thought there were moments that were decently creepy. And it had a good story, good cast, a good ending. And for a guy who's never directed a horror film before, I thought this was really good. Jordan Peele, I mean, of Key and Peele, I've never really been the biggest fan of their comedy skits, but he did a really good job directing this. It's surprising. And yeah, I thought it was a really ballsy idea that was told very well. And while I do have a few nitpicks, overall I enjoy the film. And it's been a good year so far for 2017 because I love John Wick 2. I loved Constant Island, loved this movie, and I liked Logan. I didn't have a lot of problems with Logan, but overall I do like Logan. And so it's definitely a better year so far, movie-wise, than last year. And yeah, I could say it's overhyped. If people say it's overhyped, sure, because it's getting insane ratings, and this film really is not a horror film. Comedic thriller is more of what it should be called. It's a comedic thriller. I mean, if this is a horror film, then a film like Pacific Heights would be a horror film. Well, this does have a little bit of a, I don't know if I want to say sci-fi, but a little bit of a Twilight Zone bit at the end. So maybe, but yeah, I would call it more of a thriller, comedic thriller than a horror film. I don't think this film's scary, but I'm the last guy to say what a movie's scary because honestly, movies just don't scare me. I could count on one hand the movies in my life that actually scared me. There's not one horror film in the past at least 10, 15 years that scared me. Not one. Not a single one. So again, I'm the last guy to say, like, to me, there are horror films never steer me. I'm not saying to be, oh, look at me. Maybe when I was a kid, or a teen, and I saw the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time, and maybe the first time I saw the Blair Witch Project on VHS because I'd never seen anything like that before, and oh shit. But yeah, I can count on one hand. But it's a good movie. And I have to give in the spoilers because that's how I do reviews. So try to do better to warn people about spoilers. But it starts off with this guy walking. He's talking to himself. He's talking on the phone. Well, he's talking on the phone. Then he's talking to himself. And I know how this goes. Like I go on walks. Like there's a bicycle trail, and I go on walks there. And at times you talk to yourself because it makes the time go by faster. And so I can relate to that. And there's this car following him. And he's like, "Oh, keep walking, keep walking. No, fuck this, fuck this. I'm fucking going the other path. Not today, not me." I thought that was pretty funny. And then the guy, I thought it was well directed on how the guy gets grabbed and gets dragged away. And it cuts to our lead guy, who I thought did a really good job. He was really likable. I really felt sorry for this guy. I didn't think he was wooden. I didn't think he was bad. I thought he was really good. And he's a black guy who's with this white girl. And I thought she did a good job too. It seemed like they had some good chemistry and that they were in love with each other. And they're going off to see their parents. And he's asking her, do they know that I'm black? And they have some nice conversation. I do think it's pretty well written movie, dialogue wise. They're on their way in the car, and he's trying to smoke, and she throws it out the window, and he's like, "Oh, you just threw $1 out the window, huh? I just throw that. You just threw $1 out the window." He calls his friend. And again, I liked his friend Rod. In most movies, he'd be sort of the annoying, "Hey man, what's up, man? What's up?" But again, I thought his style was pretty funny. Lil Rel Howery or Lil Ray, Lil Rel Howery. I think I said Lil Ray, but I meant to say Lil Rel Howery. Lil Rel. Yeah, he's a stand-up comic. So Lil Rel Howery is Rod Williams. He works for airport security, and he talks on the phone with the lead guy. And he's asking, how come you're going with her to her parents? Well, she don't lick your balls or something? And like he hangs up, and the guy goes, "This motherfucker just hung up on me." But as the two go and they hit a deer, it was an accident, and then they keep on going. Well, before that, this cop stops them, and the cop asks the guy for a license. And again, the lead character by Daniel Kaluuya, his name is Chris. Chris. So he asked Chris for a license, and she even goes, "Well, why are you asking for a license? He wasn't driving." And she's thinking, "Oh, well, this white cop is doing this because her boyfriend is black." So she stands up for her boyfriend and says, "No, that's bullshit. You don't have to show him your license. This is bullshit." And it makes you like the girl, Allison Williams as Rose. It makes you like her. Like, she's sticking up for her boyfriend. She's not tolerant of this bullshit. And he appreciates that to her. And they get to the parents' house, and the parents are awkward. And again, well acted by Bradley Whitford and Catherine Keener. But they're awkward. Sometimes they're saying weird things. They're really gung-ho about, "Hey, man, how's it going?" And, if man, I love Obama. Yeah, I would have voted him for a third time. Best president in my life. And like later on, when they're at this white party, and this guy who's a golfer says, "Oh, I love Tiger. I know Tiger. I love Tiger," as in Tiger Woods. So they're really pushing that hard and making the lead guy awkward. They also have some servants who happen to be black, and even the dad acknowledges that. Yeah, I know how awkward this looks and how weird it seems. And you have these servants, again, who happen to be black. At times they space out, and they act really weird, and that's sort of some of the creepy stuff, especially when you find out what's really going on. So like one servant, she's sort of pouring something, she sort of spaces it out, and then she accidentally spills something on the table. Or at night, the lead guy, Chris, is looking around. There's this one guy just running towards him, just keeps on running. Or he sees certain people looking out the window. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" And Catherine Keener, she hypnotizes him without him really wanting to, at this point, to quit cigarettes. And he tells a little bit about his past, about he didn't want to call when his mom didn't come home, because if he did, it'd make it real, and he feels bad for that. So he blames himself, even though in real life he didn't really do anything wrong. He was just a kid at home, and he didn't know why his mom didn't come home. But I thought this was really visually interesting about how, she has this teacup, and she hits it. She's like sinking to the floor. And it's like him sink into this black abyss, and he's like going back in this abyss. And seeing through his eyes, it gets smaller and smaller, and then it looks like a TV screen getting smaller and smaller. But I was trying to reach back out, and there's no noise, and he can't get through. It's really interesting images. And like she closes his eye, and then he's trying to get there, and everything's black. And then he wakes up, thinks it's a nightmare, then he realizes that maybe it really did happen. And he meets some of the other people, and people like this black guy chopping wood, and he's talking funny. He's like, "Oh, I bet your girlfriend, one of a kind, top of the line." Just all this weird stuff going on. Goes to this party, like the guy's a golfer, people like sizing him up, and one guy saying black is in fashion. Sees another guy who happens to be black, and a lot of times when he's talking to these people, they're so like putting this facade up, smiling. At one point, the female servant, she's like laughing, but at the same time crying. And like certain, that's what I mean. Little moments are kind of creepy. Just I picture that happening in real life, and like when that happens, and then the lead guy goes, "This bitch is crazy." I'm like, I can understand why the guy would say that. I would say the same thing. This bitch is crazy. And just how they deal with dialogue with like he tells her, "Oh, I didn't mean to stitch you out, rat you out," and she goes, "Oh, tattletale." But then she's crying. It's weird stuff. And then you have some funny bits, like when he's talking to his airport security buddy at home who's watching the lead guy's dog, and he mentions about this hypnotism, and this guy goes, "You need to get out of there. I bet you know what they're doing. They're hypnotizing black guys for sex slaves." you know, it's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." "Oh yeah, what about Jeffrey Dahmer?" And the guy goes in this whole bit about Jeffrey Dahmer, and I can't I can't find the quotes, but his dialogue that was pretty damn funny. And then the lead guy goes, "Oh, thanks for that image." And just this weird stuff that happens. For example, when the lead guy takes a picture and there's a flash, the guy who was talking to him earlier, the black guy, he kind of gets his nosebleed and he goes, "Get out! Get the fuck out! Yeah, get out of here!" Or this one moment where this group of people are having this silent auction and people are raising their hands to bid on it, and it pulls back and reveals the guy Chris's picture. It's like they're bidding on this guy as a slave, like to work for them. Like, and he sent the lead guy who took the picture. This is one nitpick I have because there's a bit of coincidence that when he sends the picture of that guy to the security guy like instantly recognizes him and goes, "Oh, I know who that is." And I'm thinking of all the guys that could have been, it just happens to be a guy that the airport security guy knew. I thought that was a bit of coincidence. Like maybe if it was a guy he looked up, but I mean I could let that go. That's the thing. Like there are little nitpicks, but if I enjoy the film, I can let little nitpicks go. I really can. But just one of those things. Oh, what a coincidence! Like he sent the picture to his buddy Rod, and Rod just happens to know who that is. But I mean, it was still funny where he's like, "I knew it, sex slave. Oh shit, you need to get the fuck out of there." Like he's thinking it's the sex slave thing, but it's much more sinister than that. And what he least to know, he finds out that his girlfriend is part of it. And I wasn't really surprised. I was pretty damn sure she was involved with it because with all this sinister stuff happening, I don't see the girlfriend not knowing about it. So it wasn't really a surprise, but I mean, I kind of saw that coming. But I mean, I will say the actress did a good job of saying, make her likable at the beginning of the film and seem like she cares about Chris. It's just I've seen too many horror films. I could see that coming, or thrillers. I've seen too many movies. I've seen many films. I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of films. For, honestly, by this point in my life, I've probably seen thousands of films. I honestly probably have. I might not remember all of those thousands of films, but I'm pretty sure I have. So I mean, that I could see coming. But he gets hypnotized again. His buddy with the airport, he's looking into it, and that's a friend we all need. A guy who's it's nothing. He's looking into it. He's worried about it while the lead guy's tied down and watching this TV. It cuts between him and this TV, watching this while he's tied down, and then his buddy looking into it. He calls the girlfriend, and I like that the guy's not stupid. Where he goes, she's of course saying some bullshit. Oh, he left 2 days ago. He's not here. Now let me put you on mute. You lying bitch! I know you're lying. We'll record the shit out of you. I know you're lying. I like that because the guy didn't act like an idiot. He's like, I know you're lying, you bitch. And then he puts her back, unmutes it so that he can talk to her, record it, to try to get her to say something to incriminate herself, but it doesn't work. And then you find out what's really going on when it comes back to Chris. And I thought this was a really interesting, ballsy idea. In a way, it's... If X-Files 2, I want to believe, was a good movie, people are like, what are you talking about? For those who've never seen X-Files 2, I don't blame you, because it's a piece of shit. And this comes from a guy... So I was checking my mail real quick. Sorry, I like to do shit more than alternate stuff. Just a habit I need a break. But X-Files 2, I want to believe, it was a movie about people transplanting one head to another to further their life. But I thought it was told very boring, very slow, very uninteresting. There's nothing creepy. There was badly, horribly done. This comes from a big X-Files fan. X-Files 2, the movie, was a horrible piece of shit. I ranted on it. I ranted on this channel. This is how it should have been done. Because it's not just a head transplant or anything. This is more interesting, where Stephen Root, we saw him early in the film as a blind guy who owned this art dealership and had talked with our lead guy. Because the lead guy, he's a photographer. And he talks about how he had bid for that auction I was talking about. It was the bid for his body. Because the surgery is going to implant us into your body. Oh, you'll still be there. A sliver of you will be there. But it'll be pushed down below in that black abyss that we saw earlier when Chris was hypnotized. So your consciousness will sink down while they'll take over your body. They'll walk around your body. And he even asked, well, why black people? And he's like, well, I don't give a shit, black or white. I just want your eyes so I can see. Because his character was blind. And if I did your body, I can see. But some, it's like, well, black is a fad. And black is in fashion. Some of the dialogue. Or, it's almost as if we want to be black because we're cool. So this is like a more sinister version of, I don't know, Malibu's Most Wanted. I mean, you think about how many white people do you see out there who want to be black and this and that. This is taking the little Twilight Zone sinister style, and that's why it's like a better, more interesting version of what X-Files I Want to Believe wanted to be. It's a really, and that's what I mean by the creepy aspect. Like when the servant female she's laughing but she's crying. It's like, well, the white person who took her body, she's laughing, but deep down her subconscious, who's still in there, is crying. And that's the thing, is that they're not dead, is that they're They're buried under there. And that's why the whole premise is, I mean, imagine if you were, someone was taking over your body, but you just still see and hear everything, but you can't do anything about it. And that's sort of the creepy aspect. And yeah, I mean, there are movies that are not exactly like that, but you look at the Stepford Wives, you look at other stuff where, you know, people taking over you. I mean, even to a certain extent, the Puppet Masters, or, you know, that type of thing. But I thought the way it was done was pretty cool. And I thought it was well told. It was well acted. Didn't have a stupid ending. And this whole thing that, you know, you can see, but you'll be a passenger in your own body. You know, they'll be in the driver's seat. And what happens is he's been tearing into his chair, and he gets some cotton from his chair. And he thinks of a plan. And jumping ahead is to put him in his ear so that when this noise hits, he won't be truly hypnotized. So they think they hypnotize him. He passes out, and his girlfriend's brother comes to grab him. But that's when this our lead guy sort of is able to kick some ass. Granted, not as good as, say, the Hills of Eyes remake. Unfortunately, not as epic as that. But, you know, unfortunately, not many movies are. But still, I mean, he gets one of these ball things and hits the brother in the head, smacks him until he's bleeding. The dad character, he stabs him with some deer antlers. I like that. The mom comes after him and stabs him in the hand with a knife, but then he takes it and stabs her. That's another nitpick. I think we should have seen him stabbing the mom in the face, which I know sounds harsh, but this character, you hate her so much, and on purpose, but you hate her so much that I think we need to see her stabbed through the eye. Like, suggest that she stabbed in the eye, but I think we need to see it. Or like a big hard neck break or something. Like, we needed to see that. I think that's one death we needed to see, because, you know, I guess if I would have done it differently and seen it. I think it would have given more of a satisfaction. It's still cool that, you know, he's able to stab her, but we should have seen him stab her instead of, well, it's close to her eyes and then it cuts away. It just, I think that was, I don't think that was a rating choice. I think that seemed like a stylistic choice on the director, because he didn't want to, I doubt he wanted a gore film. But you know what? I think some of it would have been appropriate, because these assholes deserve it. Like, these assholes, you hate these people, and you really want their, you know, their comeuppance. So in that instance, like, we got to see the dad get stabbed with the handlers, so let's see the mom get stabbed in the face or something, or in the eye. I think that would have been, I would have appreciated that. I think, what's the phrase? That was a missed opportunity. But the brother tries to grab him again. He's not quite dead, and he stabs the guy in the leg and just stomps the shit out of him, stomps the shit out of his face. And you don't see it, but like that I could handle, because you get the impact. Like, he stabbed him in the knee, and before we saw him hit him in the face, in the head with the ball thing, and you know, we see the impact. You know, he's stomping the shit out of him, not just one time, but like repeatedly. Like that, I'm fine with not seeing, you know, the head caving in or anything. Like, that I'm fine with. The mom, we should have. I hated the bitch. Stabbed the bitch in the face. But he's getting ready to leave, and there's the female servant, and he doesn't leave her because it reminds of his mom, and you know, he doesn't want to leave her, so takes her with him, but she goes crazy, grabs him, they get in a car crash, she dies from it. The guy from earlier who had the nosebleed chokes him out, and he's able to do a flash again, which snaps him out of it, grabs the gun, and the guy shoots the girlfriend, his girlfriend, and then shoots himself. I guess because that thing's still under, and he doesn't want to live that way. So he ended it. Although I'm thinking, well, maybe they can do surgery and take it out, but I guess he didn't think of it that way. And then the lead guy, like he's ready to choke her out, but there was a part of him that still loved her, so he just leaves her there to die from the gunshot wound. And you see this cop car come by, and you're thinking, oh man, it's. She's like, oh help me, this guy attacked me, and you think, oh well, you know, let's be honest, let's not bullshit. We've seen the news reports about how cops have shot black people, and that's in a lot of the news. You'd be blind if you didn't see it. So I'm pretty sure the director was playing on that as well. But then you find out it's his buddy, Rod. And yeah, and she of course shuts up because she lost. And he takes Chris gets into his airport security car, and they drive off, and he goes, "Man, I told you not to go in the house." And they ride off, and it's not a downbeat ending. He gets out, hence the title "Get Out." She dies on the road, and it's a satisfying ending. It's not downbeat. The director at one point thought of doing a darker ending, but he changed his mind. I'm glad he did, because I know what people are going to say. Well, Matt, it's a horror film. It doesn't need a happy ending. But the thing is, so many horror films nowadays have either a downbeat or a twist where the killer's not dead, boo! That is such a cliche that it's typical. It's typical. If you gave me a list of horror films in the past 5 years, I'd be go, that's a downbeat ending, that's a downbeat ending, that's a downbeat ending, that's an ending where the twist is the monster's not dead, the monster's not dead, the monster's not dead. Well, like Sinister, like every fucking Saw film, every fucking Saw film did that, fucking Sinister did that, fucking most of the movies from this company, Blumhouse, did that. I mean, Ouija. Actually, I didn't see Ouija, so I can't. That's not being fair. Well, I guess you know what, The Conjuring. Well, I will admit, The Conjuring 1 and 2 were not downbeat endings either. So I gotta give it. But I like The Conjuring 1 and 2. I don't love them, but I liked them. So I can't say every horror film, because those are two I thought of. The Conjuring 1 and 2 didn't do that. But anyway, my only nitpicks of the film, I I wonder if the lead should have killed the girlfriend, considering she's the one who led him astray. But one, I'm fine with it because one, when the investigation happens, he wasn't the one who held the gun. He never touched the gun, so they can't blame him for it. I mean, great, his buddy's there, but I'm just saying they can't blame him for shooting her because he never held the gun. Two, she gets to die slowly, not quickly, on the road. And hey, she gets to die slowly, bleeding to death, so the bitch deserves that. So really my nitpick is I would like to have seen the knife or whatever go into the mom's face. I think that's one missed opportunity. Another one is in the trailer, you see the deer skeleton in one of his nightmares, or when he's in that black abyss and he turns around, there's the deer skeleton, jumps at him. That's not in the movie. It was in the trailer, but it's not in the movie, and I hate that. Because that was, I thought, the coolest shot of the trailer, and it's not in the movie. And I'm sure they did that because they thought, well, it'd be too out of place because the rest of the film is kind of, I don't want to say realistic, but it's more downplayed. And all of a sudden here's something that would be out of Evil Dead 2. So but I wish that was in the movie. I would love to have seen it in the movie. I think it would have been really cool. And I think it's a sad opportunity that's not in it. Who knows? Maybe if it comes out, maybe someone can make a fan edit and put that somewhere in there. And but yeah, I thought that was a missed opportunity. Well, I'm sure that's why they took it out because they thought it'd be out of place. But I would love to have seen it in the film because from most people I talked to, that was the one where like, oh shit, and then it's not in the movie. I think that's bullshit. So that's one thing I did not like either. Also, like one of the servants was the sort of groundskeeper, the guy who chopping wood. Whatever happened to him? Because you saw the one guy whose nose was bleeding and he shoots the girlfriend, shoots himself. You have the servant girl who gets in the car crash and dies. But where's the other guy who is the chopping wood? Where the hell did he go? Unless I missed it. But like, where did he go? I don't know. But so yeah, just a few little teeny tiny nitpicks. Other than that though, I liked it. It's not an action movie. It's not a gore movie. It's not a jump scare movie, which I appreciated. There's maybe three at most jump scares, like when the deer pops out, or there's like a moment where he's walking, and then the female servant walks in frame, and this loud noise, loud music sting happens, and maybe, which is a surprise if you saw the trailer. That's another thing I will say that's unfortunate. If you saw the trailer, you saw the movie. Yeah, if you saw the trailer, you saw the movie. That's disappointing. But I mean, it's more the marketing fault than the movie's fault. You know what I mean? I like the movie. That's not Jordan Peele's fault. That's not the people. They don't make the trailers. Whoever made the trailer is an idiot because they gave away the entire fucking film. Or maybe not because the movie made over $100 million. So it's still a good movie. It's just one of those things where it's one of those trailers that gave away the whole film. So, but still, it's a good movie. So I guess really, if you like the trailer, you'll like the movie because that's the movie. I liked the story. I liked the little twist. I thought it was ballsy. Just think about it. If it was the other way around, that movie would never get made. Can you think about that? A white guy who has a black girlfriend and goes to a black family party, and then, oh, we're kidnapping white people because we want to put our brains into their bodies and be white. Can you imagine how much racist comments people would throw at that movie? Like on Rotten Tomatoes, that would get like a 2% or 5% at most. Um, Although the person who directed that would be like, "You crazy motherfucker," but uh, but that's what I mean. That's the other way around, and yeah, it's one of those movies. If you did the other way, no, I don't. I yeah, you would get a lot of word of mouth, but not the kind of word of mouth you'd the movie makers probably want. But yeah, it's a ballsy plot. It's an interesting idea, and it was again competently directed and handled. And I thought it was well acted. A good, satisfying ending. Wasn't a disappointing or depressing ending. And Get Out, thought was a good movie. Just a good, simple flick. It's a very low budget film. Did not cost that much at all. And maybe this also those tell studios, hey studios, you don't always need when you make a horror film, you don't always need a downbeat ending. I mean, because here's the thing. I know people say, well, you can't write in a happy ending, But there's the flip side too. I guarantee you there are a lot of movies that write in a downbeat ending just for shits and giggles as well, because the door swings both ways. And it for this movie, it didn't need that kind of ending. The ending it has fits. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. So thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.